it's Joe Mullings with the MRINetwork, and joining us today from Houston, Texas, is Chris Yee. Chris is the managing partner at Zenith Search Partners. So, Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm excited to chat with you. You and I had a great conversation on a prep call last week, and gosh, you made me laugh. You made me think deep about a number of things on the digital side, and some of the stories that you had teed me up for today. So thanks for that.
Yes, sir.
So you got into this later in career, which I love those stories. So you got your undergrad, you're a slacker from Rice University, BS Materials, and then on and got an MBA at University of Houston, and then you had a fantastic career at a couple big name brands throughout your career. And here you are, you're a recruiter, and usually that's like a crossroads when people become a headhunter later in their career. Take me through that journey.
Well, you're right. I got 3 degrees, the undergrad engineering degree, the executive MBA, and the master's in finance. And, um, like we talked about on the prep call, Joe, nobody wakes up as a fifth grader or a first grader saying, I want to be a recruiter when I grow up. And the next person I meet that says that to me will be the first. So there you go. And I certainly am not one of those men. Um, I all my life I've been in the chemical industry, from various commercial roles to a couple of accounting roles to some technical roles. And I found myself, thanks to $45 crude oil in the fourth quarter of 2015, accessed by my firm, a RIF that impacted me and about 250 of my best friends at my company then. So I decided on, what was I going to do as a 49-year-old? What was my next step going to be? I was not in a position to retire. Don't worry, I'm still not in a position to retire 5 years later almost. But I thought that there was no time like the present back then, 4.5, 5 years ago, to venture out on my own, be my own boss, and leverage the experiences I had in the chemical industry, the experiences and the contacts I had made over the 20 years prior, to venture into something new and completely different. I'd never been in HR, never been in a talent management role. I'd always been a worker bee, engineering, salesperson, accounting type person. So I wanted to partner with somebody, and MRINetwork was the perfect fit for me. I could not have done it on my own. No way, no how. And I feel very blessed 4.5 years later to be here talking with you, Joe.
And so, you know, sometimes we go to corporate America, and it has the capability of empowering us or stealing our soul. And then, you come out at 49 and 50 and go revisit who you are. So are you in a better place because you're running your own gig now and staring at the ceiling at night as an owner, but controlling your future?
I am. There's, uh, you're right. I do stare at a lot of walls, both at night and during the daytime here around these four walls.
So do I.
Yeah, yes, as do you. I think we talked a lot about that in the prep call about working a desk. And I, like you, Joe, I work a desk. I try to manage this firm, but I work a desk every day, just like you.
Mhm.
Um, but it absolutely was the right decision. Being in control of your own future is a blessing and a gift that is indescribable. What I love about this current career path that I'm on, which will be the last career path that I'm on, but what I love about my job today is um, the financial rewards, the blessings are all directly related to my effort and my team's efforts. And that's never been true for me until I was 49, 50 years old. Up until then, there was always this overlay element of the man, the corporate company, the brand, as you said,
Mhm.
that sometimes saw things differently than me, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really empowering for some people and it's scary for other. And sometimes it's the same that when you pull a lever on Monday, something happens on Tuesday and there's nowhere to hide.
That's true. It is both empowering, exhilarating, and simultaneously terrifying. And I mean that last word in all of its, in all of its glory. Yes, sitting and wondering how you're going to make payroll next week is kind of a, not sure if you've ever had to do that,
Oh, shit. My venture capitalists were American Express, Visa, MasterCard. I've cashed in, I've gone on record, I've cashed in my life insurance policies for this business. I have cashed in my 401ks for this business. And I would do it all again tomorrow. And I probably will have to. But my point is, it's
I'm
totally
in the
worth it.
same position. I put all my cards to the middle of the table, between the line of credit
Mm-hmm.
that I have at my local bank, and those financiers that you've partnered with. I've partnered with many of the same, as well as my 401k,
Yeah.
to which I have diligently devoted time and money for the last 25, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's all to the center of the table with me, and it's exhilarating. And like many owners tell you, Joe, probably all the time, I wish I had done it sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in that boat.
Good. Good. And I love to hear that story. And anybody who's in their own business for themselves, romantically, they'll look at you if you're successful. And I don't know anybody who's successful who built their own business that hasn't been brutalized. And every single person I've ever interviewed, every biography and autobiography we've all read on the people that we hold in the highest esteem, whether it's an athlete, a politician, a world leader, an explorer, they have absolutely been brutalized before they've been put up on a pedestal.
That includes a savior as well. So yes,
Correct.
religious figures as well, and in my
Correct.
case, a personal savior.
Yeah.
Yes, and this role as with Zenith Search Partner is no different. I was brutalized once.
Mm-hmm.
I joined a partnership, and the partner and I were not on the same page, and that split up was very difficult for me emotionally, mentally, not to mention financially. And then, of course, the business suffered for 18 to 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, there's no other way to say it. You've said the word a couple of times yourself, Joe. It was brutal. It
Mm-hmm.
was brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yet you couldn't imagine doing anything else right now.
I could not imagine doing anything else. I could not imagine, even though as difficult as that divorce was with my former business partner, and it was very difficult, I learned and I grew as a person, as a business owner. I grew in my relationship with the Lord. I really grew during that time. And for that, I'm very thankful. And we've recovered back to where we were, and then even beyond. And the future looks very bright going forward. So it all, what do they say, Joe? It all worked out in the end for
Yeah,
everyone, I
that's
think,
right.
for everyone, including him, including my former business partner. It all worked out well.
That's great. That's great. So tell me about your office a little bit. Tell me about your specialty. Tell me about how many people in your office and the desk you work.
Okay. Our office, we have one AE, we have one part-time IR who is a 1099. She's on contract. We're looking to expand as we speak. We are recruiting for a recruiter as we speak. There is another managing partner, a gentleman named Terry McNabb, who I know you know, and many, many in the MRI network family know and adore. Terry is on our team as a managing partner and part owner of the firm.
Awesome.
Our specialty is 100% of what we do is in the chemical space. And our three specialties are sales and commercial management. The other side of that coin is supply chain and procurement folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a pretty robust dig of chemists, engineers, and operations folks. So technical folks. So at the end of the day, Joe, the firm represents my experience in the chemical industry
Mm-hmm.
as an engineer, a technical person, a purchasing person, and then as a salesperson slash commercial manager. So in effect, the company is me from that perspective.
Yep. Yep. So you've got front office covered on the customer facing, you got the back end on the chemists, the engineers, and discovery side and process. And then you've got the middle ground with supply chain in regards to that. Is there any industries in particular that you focus on? Because specialty is indeed specialty and could be anywhere from materials all the way through, I don't know, help me.
Oh yeah, it could be anything from as commoditized as bleach,
Mhm.
to very, very specialty chemicals that are used, um, a couple of drops or a couple ounces in a gallon of paint, for example,
Mhm.
that go for hundreds of dollars per gallon.
Yep.
Um, we cover that gamut. We tend to specialize in a couple of things: industrial distribution, chemical distribution, is something we specialize in. We specialize in some specialty chemical manufacturing folks in the coatings world, in the industrial lubricants world. We also do a fair amount in the water treatment space. Um, there's a constant need for clean water. Regulations are continuously tightening in that space, as well as in the paints and coating space. And those are those are folks that we serve very well. We also do some work with folks that do um, industrial cleaners, think hard surface cleaners and various cleaners.
Sure.
Um, those are all functional fluids that are all require a lot of chemistry,
Mm.
and we serve those.
So let's do a drill here. Let's think our owners, or let's show our owners how to think and reverse engineer things. So here we are in the middle of COVID.
Yes, sir.
And we're looking at this now, and this is what I always drill when I coach new owners or existing owners who are transitioning into a new desk or a new dig. Where is the industry going to be 12 months from now? Let's look at the way the world is going to likely be in regards to surface cleaners, in regards to the way we're going to live, in regards to how food is going to be served, in regards to how travel may change. What are the things as a specialty desk office owner are you starting to look forward and going, hold on a second, that's the product. Now, how does that product get there? And how can I go ahead and create a dig on that?
Interesting that you should mention that. There's a whole bunch of flexing in the chemical industry right now, I guess in general, but especially in the chemical, or including the chemical industry, that are flexing their manufacturing and their focus areas. Here's an example. We have a client that is a manufacturer of paints and coatings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. Right now, they are flexing to making sanitizers and hand cleaners, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But those types of high demand products today, thanks to COVID-19, they've switched their manufacturing capabilities to, they have the ability to manufacture these things. They've just never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So as they make those changes, how might that change their need for engineers and operations folks and plant management folks? How might that change their need for procurement folks and for supply chain and logistics and customer service?
Right.
The real answer, Joe, is nobody's sure. I don't have any idea better than they do, but we're all flexing as an industry. We're all flexing to that, trying to go where the demand is leading us and not to be tied into what historically has brought us to Valentine's Day 2020, just before COVID-19 hit.
Right.
Does
And
that
then,
answer your question?
yeah, it does. And I want to go deeper down that. So, as we look at, we pivot, right? So let's look at as we pivot, and maybe I come up with a cleanser, but that cleanser maybe wants to find itself onto a fabric that is a handy wipe that then goes into a thin film package. And now you've got packaging opportunities, you've got printing opportunities, you've got
Yes.
process opportunities, you've got distribution opportunities. And so I know in my industry, I'm on the phone with all these VPs of manufacturing right now because I'm thinking through and having conversations with them saying, where are you going for your career? But also, while that's happening, tell me what's happening inside and what you're getting from executive leadership of what we're going to pivot towards, because no company or industry is ever going to be the same again with what we just went through. And when you can project out 3 to 5 years from now, you can set yourself up way far ahead of anybody else in the search business instead of laying at home going fetal and bitching and moaning about your desk is disappearing.
Well, there's a little bit of that, but you're right. At some point you got to bust out of that and go on the offensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, hard work creates good luck, right, Joe? That's what
That's
I've, sometimes hard work just creates work and you get tired. I admit, maybe not for you, but for me. But hard work generally tends to bring about good luck and good fortune.
Yeah.
And you're right. How do you get out in front of those things? Just, look at all these side industries. You mentioned the ink market, which is a part of coatings, right?
Mm-hmm.
The packaging market, and those um, more commodity businesses that feed into flexible film packaging and plastics. Again, those are all chemical firms that we talk to now. But how is their demand pattern changing, and how are they flexing
Correct.
to this new reality, even as the new reality is being written? Because at the end of the day, we're not sure. Goodness, we're not sure where we're going to be 6 months from now
Yeah.
with COVID-19, much less 3-5 years from now. But I understand and agree with you, Joe. It is now is the right time to think about it and discuss this with your clients and have meaningful conversations with potential clients, folks that don't have a fee agreement with you. Now's the right time to differentiate yourself from the other recruiters and headhunters and make yourself a talent advisor that can partner with these people, even these non-clients, these prospective clients.
Mm-hmm.
How do we partner with these people going forward?
Mm-hmm.
That's the differentiator, because to your point, there's a lot of fetal positioning going on in in our space today,
Yeah.
as you and I talked about last week.
Yeah. And so it helps being an engineer. It helps being a financial analyst. It helps coming out of the industry. Certainly, that's a bit of an advantage. Um, what do you do to spread that word of your expertise in that space outside of your moves you make on the phone? Is there any social strategy you're embracing? Are there things that you plan on focusing on because of where the industry is today?
I think it starts internally with Terry and Molly Bays, our AE. You know, you know, they can't substitute my 20 years of experience in the chemical space. But my challenge is, how do I cascade what little knowledge I have to them, to where they can be looked at as a differential talent advisor,
Mm-hmm.
to their clients. That's our primary focus. It's been our primary focus. But now, as things are changing, and I'm trying to extend myself and my knowledge into places I've never been, kind of, I have to, I have to help cascade that to them. So that's a big challenge. How we're doing that, we talked last week about social media.
Mm-hmm.
I want that to play a bigger role. I'm blessed to have Terry McNabb, who is I would say, much more advanced on the social media side than I am. I'm blessed to have him on our team, right? But as for me personally, building my brand,
Mm-hmm.
not along with, not Zenith Search Partners necessarily, but Chris Yee's personal brand as a thought leader, social media, Joe, is going to play a larger role in that. The exact role and how are we going to get trained? That's something you and I and the rest of the MRI family will figure out together, I take it.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Wink,
Got
wink.
it. Got it. It's the number one on the initiative.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I that's music to my ears.
Edit this out.
Cut all that out.
I have no idea what I'm going to be doing, Chris. No, I'm with you. I'm really curious because you've got this. This is you're an ideal individual to just look. This is what people have to look at when they're creating their brand. They overthink it, and you're incredibly engaging. You're an industry expert, right? You've got the chops, the pedigree, and as soon as you get in front of a potential customer, it closes more often than not. So let's scale that outside the analog function of one phone call, one point of engagement. How do we? You and I talked about this last week. How do I get content out in in the public domain? LinkedIn, it's easy, it's free. Um, so when you make 25 calls, every single one of those calls is a B plus to an A call because they've been watching you because they're in your industry. And so overthinking that is usually the biggest challenge we have. And over-indexing towards video is also another challenge that we overplay. Video should be in your portfolio, but is the most expensive and the lowest ROI, but it still needs to be in there. So, these are the things indeed that we're going to be talking about, and you and I had chatted about on Friday last week. So we'll be biting into that and look for more of that coming. I promise that to you in short
Yeah,
order.
like you mentioned, one-to-one is your traditional, you have to do a power hour, you've got to do 25 to 35 calls, and that's good. That has its place. Many people have made a boatload of money from doing that and continue to do so, Joe,
Yeah.
even today. But to your point, it's so much more leveraging if you would have those B plus to A calls with inbound traffic by initially doing a one-to-many arrangement versus one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
So by definition, a telephone is not one-to-many. LinkedIn and Facebook and social media in general, by definition, is one-to-many. So how do we leverage that? How do we leverage those tools to drive ultimately those one-to-one closing calls?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
I have
spot
no
on.
idea, but but we'll figure that out.
I'm going to send you the playbook.
Please, please.
You got it.
So
Is there anything, Chris, I didn't ask you that I should have as we wrap up?
there's one thing we talked about your potentially asking me what would the 2020 mid COVID-19 Chris Yee tell to the 3 to 6 month, pick, 3, 6, 9, 12 month into this business Chris Yee.
Yeah.
What would the old wise, more hair Chris Yee tell the younger, more stressed Chris Yee? You didn't ask me that. And I thought a lot this weekend about that, and I'm kind of disappointed you didn't. So would you please ask me?
Sure. Chris, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Now, what would the April 28th, 2020 Chris Yee ask the 6 months into the start of your career in 2016 Chris Yee? What would you tell that person? You better pay attention to this and stop worrying about that.
I would tell that 2016 Chris to, even though you think you're all alone, you are not alone. You are as alone as you want to be with the MRINetwork. There are people literally that are lined up, and there's infrastructure in play that is there to help you succeed. That's what I would say, that you're part of a family, you're part of a network. I would also say, stop freaking out about things that you can't control.
Amen.
You can't control who answers the phone. You really can't control if you catch them in a bad way and they hang up on you, and that's after they curse you out. You can't really control that. What you can control is picking up the phone, is dialing, making sure you've got a tight script. That's what you can control. But don't worry about the garbage you can't control, because in this business, you really can't control a ton, but you can control a lot, and you need to concentrate on the stuff you can control. Also, to the younger me, grind, continue to grind.
Amen.
Don't think that this is a passing thing where you're only putting into 16 to 18 hours a day. Love the process. Learn to find joy in the process, because it will all pay off. But don't think you'll ever reach a time where you're going to be working 3 hours a day. At least the 2020 Chris wouldn't tell him that, So, start to love the grind, because it's fun, believe it or not, and it will pay off if you concentrate on stuff you can change.
Yeah. Gosh, that's so powerful, and it's spot on too. Yeah, and if you're thinking about it's going to get easier, it doesn't, because the greats, once they become good at something, they go find something else they want to become great at as well.
Amen.
I always tell everybody, everything you're great at today, you once sucked at.
That's true. without exception, I think that's true.
Right. Right.
And that's not just work. I mean, that's personal, that's interpersonal,
Everything.
that's family, that's child rearing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's everything.
Yeah. And you
I
nailed it.
like
Yeah. You nailed that. So that's a good answer. And that's a good mic drop, my friend.
Oh, I don't know. Thank you. You've been very kind. Like I told you in the prep, I'm nervous. So you've made this very, very easy for me, Joe. I thank you very much. It was a blessing. It was a joy to speak with you.
Yeah, it was great. Great speaking with you as well. And I'm looking forward to meeting you face to face as well. And I'm promising you some content we're working on right now, sort of a weekly dose of how to get the social going. So I'll promise that to you. And I got my production team working on that as well. So we're going to be quick with that for you.
I appreciate that. My team and I stand ready to receive that, and we stand ready to enact and get busy and grind.
Awesome. I'll be there.
Thanks.
All right, my friend. Be well.
Appreciate it. You too.
You got it. This is Joe Mullings with the
Chris
MRI
Yee.
Network. And with Chris Yee. I'm going to read.
Edit that out. Edit that out.
My board's going to ask me to do that again. I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry.
I got a new co-host.
Joe, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. This is awesome. All right, Icky, you want me to take us out again?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Hold on. I'm going to fuck this up too. All right, here we go.
I apologize, Joe. I'm so sorry.
All right. This is Joe Mullings with the MRI Network.